All right, hey, y'all. This is Kendrick, and here's a brief presentation of my action research plan, the end of course critique revision. I've chosen this plan or this particular topic, is because feedback and course critiques are largely dismissed, if you will, and there's actually a lot at stake with the data that these things provide. So we'll jump right into this. I hope you like this. This is done by Prezi, and they're kind of fun. So the why we're doing this. Why am I here? Why am I in this class? Why am I doing this presentation? So my area of study is student critiques and their effectiveness with driving accurate and relevant instruction. Like I just mentioned, there is a lot of data that can be captured with end of course critiques, feedback, if the right question is asked, and both the student and the teacher institution take these things seriously. Strange that it is, these end of course critiques in higher education institutions can actually either keep a professor or can end a career pretty quick. But that's for a different day, different discussion. Moving on. So with any research, we got questions. So let's move on to those questions. The big questions, right? Selected 3 that we've been working with. First one, we want to know, does the current student critique ask questions that will elicit responses that will have collectible data? My agency is currently in a critique revision, hence this project, and this is a big question. Are we asking the right question? I think it's kind of a good starter. Our next one, what is the appropriate type and number of questions that will provide enough collectible data? There's various types of questions that can be asked, and how many? How many is the right answer? Because, either you're not asking enough or you're doing too many and the people are getting bored. And then what data needs to be collected to ensure that we are meeting the customer and student needs? For my particular work, we train individuals in certain things, and our different commands come to us and say, we want these things taught. And so we need to know that we are meeting our customer or these commands requirements when we're teaching their students. So on to the plan. We have already pushed out a question bank to our working group of individuals that come from each training section, and we're going to look at all this and determine and answer these 3 questions. Right now, the data bank or the test bank's already been pushed out, and we're set to have our first meeting this next week. At the second, and at this meeting, we'll go ahead and just kind of get a baseline, get just kind of napkin notes, all that down. Then we'll push on some additional work, and then we'll come back to the second meeting. We'll all sit down. We'll discuss what we've done, figure out where we are, set another date, continue on with the work. Once we get to the third meeting, we'll try and wrap this thing up, and the final will be the command approval. And because in the military, you cannot do anything without command approval. So that's the final step. We think that this is going to be pretty quick, maybe no more than 3 months max, based on our training schedule and ops tempo. All right, but who are we dealing with? Who's who in the zoo? Well, obviously, maybe obvious, maybe it's not. For the students, we need to know what they think, how they're feeling. Are we meeting their needs, their expectations? The staff, they're another important part of all this, in that they're the ones teaching. It's their job, their livelihoods that provide the training, support the students, support the mission and all that. And then finally, the command. The command, one says, yes, go forth and do, or no, we need to relook at everything. So those are the primary players when it all comes to this. And then some fun stuff about some things to think about. You've got different variables in all this, types of questions. You've got types of students. In our particular training, we've already collected a lot of data, and in one aspect of our training, women tend to do better than men. I can't necessarily go into the detail about it, but it's an interesting topic, if you will. Well, one of the things about being in the military is we have core values that we stick with. Some people think we're kind of brainwashed, but we've been trained to rely on each other, and that there's a commonality, and we all believe the same thing. That we like to leave things better than we found it, and it's pretty deep within military culture. We also look at the bias, because this is kind of fun. Definite individual preferences and how people feel towards different things. We also take those kind of things into consideration as well. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with one is security, if you will, and privacy and anonymity and consent. When in research, you don't want to harm your participants, whether it's the student, or in our case, the student or the staff, because there's reputations, there's perceptions, and then there's just downright student privacy and concern there. And then I'll leave you with this that I think we hold dear by General Patton, that we never tell people how to do things. We tell them what to do, and they will surprise you with their ingenuity. And then if everyone is thinking alike, someone isn't thinking. Well, just to let you know, the military is not that brainwashed. There's a lot of people that think for themselves. Anyway, so this is our research plan, and hope you enjoyed it.